The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Tilani Pires. The headlines. The Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says that electricity tariffs are to be reduced in January. A new disaster early warning system is launched. The Cabinet approves relief measures for government officials contesting the local government polls. The GC Advanced Level Examination 2023 will commence on the 4th of January 2024. The Supreme Court grants permission to destroy 100 kilos of drugs. And on international news, over 120 killed in China's deadliest quake in years. And on sports news, volleyball, the finals of the 35th National Youth Services Rupavahini Challenge Trophy Volleyball Tournament will be held this weekend. The Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, has emphasized that the electricity tariffs will likely be reduced to earlier rates during the tariff revision scheduled for January 2024 as hydropower is currently being generated at maximum capacity. He added that the VAT tax will have no impact on electricity tariffs. Joining a media briefing taking place at the Presidential Media Centre this afternoon, Minister Wijesekara stated that the previous tariff hike in October was carried out in view of the higher cost of electricity generation due to the usage of fossil fuel. However, the weather conditions have now changed. As we received rainfall during the past 2 months and the rainfall is expected to continue for 2 more weeks, the Ceylon Electricity Board has informed that the electricity tariff can be revised. During the tariff revision, the increased tariff can be reduced. He mentioned that accordingly the government will be able to provide some relief to the public during the next tariff revision in January. In a gracious gesture, President Ranil Wickremesinghe conveyed his heartfelt congratulations to the Sri Lankan talent Kilmisha Udayasilan, who emerged victorious in the Sarigamapa title Little Champs Season 3 reality competition hosted by the Zee Tamil channel in the state of Tamil Nadu, India. Hailing from the Jaffna region, the 14-year-old girl has made history as the first Sri Lankan girl to clinch victory in an Indian reality competition. President Wickremesinghe personally reached out to Kilmisha Udayasilan via phone to commend her exceptional skills and acknowledge honor she has brought to the nation. In addition to recognizing achievement, the President conveyed his blessings for her ongoing educational pursuits and extended compliments for her promising future in the field of music. The Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval for several relief measures for the government officials entitled to political rights who had submitted nominations to contest the local government elections. The Department of Government Information said the Commissioner General of Elections had informed the Minister of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government that it would be appropriate to appoint a committee to resolve the issues that have surfaced due to the postponement of the local government elections 2023 indefinitely. Accordingly, the consent of the Elections Commission has been provided to implement the recommendations of the report submitted by the said committee appointed by the Secretary to the Ministry. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Commissioner General of Examinations said the 2023 GC A-Level examination is slated to commence on the 4th of January 2024 and will be held until the 31st of January 2024. Admissions of the school applicants have been sent to the schools, while the admissions of the private applicants have been posted to the private addresses provided. Admissions could be downloaded from the onlineexams.gov.lk/online apps or via the official website of the Department of Examinations, www.doenets.lk. Repeating, www.donets.lk. Any amendment needs to be made could be done before midnight of next Friday. The Minister of Justice disclosed that the Supreme Court permitted to destroy 100 kilos of drugs. This was disclosed before the Select Committee of Parliament to look into and identify the mechanisms to be implemented in order to immediately control and eradicate the rapidly spreading drug menace in the country and to submitted observations and recommendations to Parliament in this regard. Accordingly, dates are set to destroy the drugs. This was discussed when the Select Committee of Parliament met in Parliament recently under the chairmanship of the Minister of Public Security, Tira Nalas. Furthermore, proposals and public comments received from government institutions regarding the methods to be implemented to immediately control and eradicate the drug menace received by the committee by December 12, 2023 were tabled in this Select Committee of Parliament, and a copy was given to all the institutions and individuals present. Accordingly, the Select Committee of Parliament emphasized that the proposals and public comments received by the said committee should be further analysed and further discussed. That ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
A new disaster early warning system focusing on safeguarding the citizens of the country has been launched by the Disaster Management Centre and the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka in collaboration with SLT Mobitel, Hutch, Dialog and Airtel service providers. A memoranda of understanding in this regard was signed by the President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat today. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
This is Watchlight. The Public Security Ministry has issued an extraordinary gazette revising the maximum fee for uploading images to the e-photo studio software system of the Department of Registration of Persons. As such, a registered photographer can charge a maximum fee of 400 rupees to upload the ICAO standard compliance digital image of a person who applies to obtain an NIC or duplicate of the identity card after registration, and thereafter for issuing the photographic reference slip to the applicant. In an earlier Gazette notification, a fee of 150 rupees was stipulated to be charged by a registered photographer for supplying 3 copies of a photograph of a person who applies to obtain the NIC or the duplicate following registration. Through the new communique, the previous Gazette notification has been rescinded. That came to you in Watchlight. Coming up, World News. World News headlines first. Over 120 killed in China's deadliest quake in years. The US announced 10-nation force to counter Houthi attacks in the Red Sea. Iceland volcano erupts on Reykjanes Peninsula. At least 126 people have been killed in northwest China in the country's deadliest earthquake for years. The 6.2 magnitude quake hit mountainous Gansu province around midnight on Monday, also shaking neighboring Qinghai, and fatalities may rise with more than 700 reported injured in icy conditions. Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered thousands of rescue crew to the region, among the poorest and most diverse in China. The United States has announced the launch of a multinational force to protect trade in the Red Sea after attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels forced at least a dozen shipping lines to suspend operations. The U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said on Monday that Bahrain, Canada, France, Italy and Seychelles and the United Kingdom would be among the countries joining the 10-nation multinational security initiative. A volcano has erupted on the Reykjanes Peninsula of southwest Iceland after weeks of intense earthquake activity. About 4,000 people were early evacuated from the fishing town of Grindavik. The Icelandic Met Office said the eruption started north of the town. The region around the capital, Reykjavik, has been experiencing an increase in earthquake activity since late October. However, an expert said it will not bring the same level of disruption as the one in 2010, which halted European air travel. Back to the world news headlines. Over 120 killed in China's deadliest quake in years. The US announced 10-nation force to counter Houthi attacks in the Red Sea. Iceland volcano erupts on Reykjanes Peninsula. That ends world news.
Development News.
The Embassy of Sri Lanka in Beijing organized a promotional event at the Chancery premises on 15 December 2023 to announce the free visa regime introduced by Sri Lanka to 7 countries, including China. Over 60 guests representing the Chinese outbound travel industry and the local media participated in the event. Addressing the gathering, Chartered Affairs K.K. Yoganathan invited the outbound travel companies and local media to work in coordination with the Embassy of Sri Lanka to give wide publicity on Sri Lanka as a favoured travel destination among the Chinese public in view of the free visa regime introduced recently. Promotional videos showcasing the enchanting beauty of Sri Lanka's tourist destinations, the rich heritage of Ceylon tea and the brilliance of Sri Lankan gems were also screened during the event. That was development news. Moving on with sports news. The finals of the 35th National Youth Services Rupavahini Challenge Trophy Volleyball Tournament is scheduled to take place throughout the day on December 23rd at the Indoor Stadium of the National Youth Centre in Maragama, as announced by the National Youth Services Centre. Teams from all 26 districts across the country, both boys and girls, will compete in the tournament. The preliminary round of the national level girls competition commenced today and will run until December 13th. The national levels boys competition is slated for December 20th and 21st at the Indoor Stadium in the Youth Services Centre Maragama. The champions of the tournament will be awarded a cash prize of 150,000 rupees, while the runners-up will receive 100,000 rupees. Team securing the third place will be granted a cash prize of 75,000 rupees. That was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Lysol, one of the Sri Lanka's most loved cleaning and disinfectant brands from Reckitt Benckiser, clinched a coveted gold award at the prestigious Slim Effie Awards 2023. The accolade, one of the only 5 gold awards presented on the night, marks a momentous occasion for Lysol as it attests to their unmatched dominance in the cleaning and disinfectant category. That came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news.
The Associate Director, SAC, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Tilan Vijaysurya, said Sri Lanka is looking at hosting a SAC economic conference in Colombo in April 2024. He made these remarks after attending the 82nd SAC CCI Executive Committee meeting recently held in Kathmandu. That came to you in economic news.
Weather report.
Showers will occur at times in the northern, north central and eastern provinces. Several spells of showers may occur in the Uva province and in the Hambantota district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in other areas of the island after 1 p.m. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and eastern provinces. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and southern provinces in the morning. That was the weather report, and now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. The Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara says that electricity tariffs are to be reduced in January. A new disaster early warning system is launched. The Cabinet approves relief measures for government officials contesting the local government polls. The GC Advanced Level Examination 2023 will commence on the 4th of January 2024. The Supreme Court grants permission to destroy 100 kilos of drugs. And on international news, over 120 killed in China's deadliest quake in years. And on sports news, volleyball, the finals of the 35th National Youth Services Rupavahini Challenge Trophy Volleyball Tournament will be held this weekend. That ends this news broadcast, and now it's back to Chandima Virakon as always on a Tuesday night. Back to you, Chandima.